Hey, good afternoon, guys. Sorry I could not be here today, but with the beautiful power of technology, I still am. And I can still yell at you, and I can still ring this bell as much as I want to, which is pretty sweet. When I was a student, if your teacher was gone, you didn't have to deal with them. And now, I'm here no matter what. Can you get rid of me? No. If I'm sick and gone, can you get rid of me? Also no. Yeah. So there's that. Above me is your homework assignment tonight. Yes, you do have an online lecture. Yes, you do have some reading to do. I'm going to have your sub pause this video so you can write down your objectives, which are over here. And you need to take out your migration notes from yesterday. So if you could please pause this video and then hit play after about 2 or 3 minutes and everyone's had a chance to put in their Google Calendar, their homework, and write down their agendas. Thanks. Oh, I don't hit pause. Unpause now. Ooh. So today, actually, yes, you are going to continue your presentations. I'm still going to do a weird New York accent, and now the person who's running this class is going to have to listen to it as well. So yesterday, before we get started, yesterday in between each of the presentations, we took some notes. And you should have notes on each of these things specifically. You absolutely need to know migration. For the AP test this year, when they wrote the test, there was a lot going on in the Middle East in migration, and we still had Syrian refugees that were popping out. And so it is very likely going to be an FRQ question this year. So we had economic pushes, we had economic polls. We talked about those yesterday. We'll go over them again so you can take notes. We had environmental pushes, we had environmental polls. You guessed it. We're also going to have, which we haven't gotten to, political pushes, and we had political polls. And finally, we had social pushes and polls. And I believe so far we have had economic pushes and polls, and we have had social pushes and polls, but we haven't had environmental and political. So if I'm wrong on that, I may pause too many times. So just skip over the ones I am wrong at. But let's go through some of those notes. And then, well, actually, you're going to get up here and present, and then we're going to go over the notes just like we did in class. And I'm going to make my judgments from a long distance away because, you know, I'm going to ding the bell. I'm going to say you can't immigrate to my country because that's how it works sometimes. So yesterday we talked economic pushes and polls, and we talked jobs. If you did not write down the word jobs more than once, please do it now. Economic pushes and polls are about jobs, and economic opportunity, which is just jobs, but said a different way. It's also about healthcare, because some people can't afford healthcare. A lot of people will go to Canada to get their healthcare, and sometimes they stay there. And it's about education. But frankly, if you can label that the economic push and pull of migration is based on work, you will be fine. So this is just review. I'll go pretty quickly. Oh, nice transition. Blank page. We went through this, and then we talked about social polls. Remember, the group came up and they talked about racism and LGBTQ rights, and we talked about chain migration. Here's a term you should have, and remember, chain migration is that families follow families when they migrate. So if someone migrates to the United States, their family from the country of origin is probably going to eventually find them, which is why you find pockets of different people, different immigrant populations in different places within the country. So we'll go quickly through this. Remember, gender rights, LGBTQ rights, anything that the government doesn't persecute you for, but you are persecuted for, including religion, is a social pull or push. And I showed you this cool map, which shows you how people end up in pockets. There's this pocket of Myanmar. Oh, I'm pointing at it. You can't see. Can you see this? Maybe. There's this pocket of Myanmar floating around. I think I can draw. Probably now isn't the time to mess with that. We did talk environmental pushes and pulls. I believe we had the environmental pushes come out, but here let's write this first. Is people are pulled from good climate, beautiful landscapes, remote physical beauty. You can imagine that the people who are pulled to these places are probably from stage 4 demographically because they have the money to choose to go somewhere. You might think of a wealthier person who moves to Hawaii. But I don't believe we had the polls come up yet. So here's what I would like to do. Welcome to the immigration office. I need the group or the family who is trying to immigrate for environmental polls to please come forward. My associate is going to hit pause while you guys present. Be sure to take notes on their presentation because they're going to say some pretty smart stuff. Please pause now. I don't pause. I don't know why I keep trying to pause. Hopefully that group talked about some of the terrible things or some of the good things that pull us, or if they were the other group and I got it switched, they talked about the reasons we're pushed environmentally out, which are going to be floods, droughts, earthquakes, climates. Oh, that group already did that. So it definitely was pulls. And I'll make my ruling. You can't immigrate to my country. 0 out of 30 points. Go sit down. But good job. We're going to move next to our final group and our hardest group, which is going to be, oh boy, look at some of these pictures. Look, this was in Japan just very recently. Crazy. So we're talking tsunamis. We're talking, I got ahead of myself. I got excited. We're talking famine. Really kind of sad and depressing stuff. Anything where the environment is playing a factor, and that includes agriculture. That would include the push and pulls. But for now, I need my political polls to please come forward. And as soon as you guys are ready, your sub is going to hit pause on me. And as soon as you guys are ready, you are going to present. And then I'll determine whether or not you're going to be let into the country. Cool? Pause now. All right. So my guess is you guys, my polls probably talked about good, safe political climate in America. There are a lot of places that aren't that way. But honestly, I'm not trying to have you come to America and bring all your problems with you. So you also cannot immigrate to my country. Go ahead and go sit down. A lot of places, a lot of people will immigrate to countries that have stable democracies and aren't dictatorships. Remember the other day we were like, well, how come two countries that are right next to each other can have such different immigration patterns? And the answer is political climate. You can go from one place that is identical and then to another that has the same resources, but if the politics in that area are safe, remember health, wealth, and well-being, right? If they feel safe, then they're going to probably stay there. So hopefully the group brought up something like that. Unfortunately, no space. No space. Oh, I haven't been doing my accent. Hey, whoa, welcome to America. Then there's political pushes. And political pushes, in fact, I'm going to have the group go ahead, come up and present with this background. If the sub teacher could please pause now. You guys can present. All right, here's my ruling. Unfortunately, even though what a great group you were, and you really tore at my heartstrings, you guys have gangs and issues and violence and bad political climate. Honestly, yeah, no, you can't come into the United States. Sorry, 0 out of 30 points. Stinks. But this is where we're going to really get into today when we watch the film we're watching. I know my face is kind of covering up the bottom here, but here are some terms you do need to write down. The first is refugees. And a refugee is a victim of those above words: persecution, discrimination, war, conflict, violence, anything that's going to cause someone to not feel safe in their own country. It's basically a refugee is someone who's looking for refuge, which means safety. So they're people who have been forced out due to or forced to migrate due to armed conflict, violence, war, human rights issues. I have a very close friend who actually is a refugee from India, and because he was gay, they threatened to kill him, and he ran out, and that would have been a social push for him. So asylum is that word you can't really see down right. How does it look on the camera? Right there. It's asylum, ASYLUM, and it's basically a safe, it's like calling safe when you get to home base or when you're playing tag, you're like, oh, I'm safe. And asylum is something that people can claim. They're looking for a safe place, and many countries will allow people to claim asylum. The United States is a very interesting example right now because we're only allowing people from certain places to claim asylum as they come here. So we are more likely to let someone claiming asylum to come in than we are someone who just wants to immigrate to this country for economic reasons, right? So those are your political pushes. Hopefully the group already went to sit down and isn't just standing there waiting for me to say, go ahead and sit down. Cool. Great presentations. I probably am going to make you do them again tomorrow, so be ready. Here's what we're up to today. today we're going to be talking about a really specific case study in migration, and it is a movie. It's about the Lost Boys of Sudan, which are this whole, I guess, tribe is a word you could use, of young boys who were forced out of their country and had nowhere to go. So they walked and walked and walked and walked and walked. And we're going to be watching this documentary, not because I'm gone. We're going to do it even if I was here. We're watching this because this, as a case study, is really powerful for migration on the FRQs. You can wedge the Lost Boys of Sudan into almost any question they're going to ask you. The only thing you're required to do for today while you're watching the first 45 minutes is make sure you are following along. Make sure your cell phone is away. Your headphones are not even in view. I would like my guest teacher to not have to walk around and monitor you guys. You are really responsible students, so I don't expect him or her to. But you need to fill this out as you go. If you want to take some breaks and pause and make sure everybody's on the same page, that's totally fine. It's definitely up to your teacher today. We will finish tomorrow. We may not finish the whole thing, but I don't want you to think today is taking a day off, because this video really is one of the more important case studies you're going to know. So if you think of something you could put in your notes, if you think of something that you see on here that you're like, oh, I know that from the ESPN reasons, what pushes and pulls, you should definitely annotate or make those marks in your notes so that you can put them in your actual notes, because there is coming up your first FRQ or CRQ, I guess it would be, your first CRQ practice question, where it's not going to be information I just gave you. It's going to be kind of, I'm going to ask you to use an example. I'm not going to tell you which one like I did last time. So that's coming up. But pretty much the movie is on Amazon Prime for free. If there is any issue with the video player, please help your sub out if someone has an Amazon Prime account. Otherwise, go talk to Mr. Trauber. Or shoot me a remind. I hope you guys have a great day. Hopefully presenting to nobody and still getting a 0 out of 30 wasn't too frustrating for you. Sorry, I can't do anything about it. I'm not there. Otherwise I'll give you all A's, but instead zeros. Anyhow, hope you're all doing good. Bye.